So welcome in everybody. I've started the recording. This is our Design 350 lab for Friday the 22nd at 11 o'clock. And we'll be going over a couple of questions and then I've got some stuff to show you. So the first question is from Leah and it's about opening the Hamul file. And I'm suspecting that I touched it with Revit 2022. And so you'll probably have to do it with Revit 2022, which means you might have to go on to VMware to get it. So week 9. Uh-oh. Does that mean I have to download it? Did I not save that thing? Okay, so now I gotta get into my files and download it, I guess. Was I in the right spot there? Is everybody doing okay with the Duo send me a push security login stuff?
So far, it's worked out okay for me. It's asked me a few separate times for me to enter in or for them to send me a code.
Yeah, so I have the Duo app on my phone and it seems to work pretty well. Excuse me. This changing weather is getting me.
Yeah, but always seems to happen this time of year.
Well, especially, for those of you who are not air conditioner people, um, the first time you turn on something, it can get really, really bad stuff blowing through your house. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Okay, so here we go. So I'm opening it up in Revit 2022 and it should open up. Excuse me. And it's
And
taking its time, but there we go. There it
how
goes.
do I how do I get on VMware again? I haven't had to do it in a while.
Okay, so to get onto VMware, here's the link is, and I'll put it in the chat, vdi.losrios.edu. And let me put that into the chat. Where's my chat? There it is. Excuse me. And you can also see it on the front page of the canvas. And
Okay.
that will take you to here, and you do this VMware Horizon HTML access. And then it'll just ask you for upload, for your sign on. So once you get into there, of course, then you've got this and you're ready to do your view section. Just put it somewhere. Probably turn it around. Probably bring it down really, really short. I'm going to move it forward just a little bit. There it goes. And come down here. That's now my section. There it is. And you might have to click on this and extend it down a little bit. But there we go. Now we've got the section view and you can do all that other stuff. You can hide those in view. You can hide this thing in view. I don't know what that is. You can make this a little bit more bold, but first I'm going to put a detail line right on it. so that I can put my spot elevation there. Probably pull that around over to here. Edit my target type so that the unit format is like to the nearest inch. Good enough for what we're going to do on Hamul. I could even move that down 1 inch if I wanted it to be like it. You know, who knows what it's really at, right? And we can do the same thing over here. And do my view. And, oops, annotate. Sorry, annotate spot elevation. And this one I can probably move up 1 inch. And so now I've got something that's looking fairly reasonable. I can, that little line, and override the graphics. It's always good to see this about however many times you possibly can. Never hurts to see how to do this over and over and over again. And my object weight, I'm going to guess maybe an 8. Maybe it needs to be more than that. I better check my scale as I put it on a piece of paper. 1 inch equals 20. I don't know how far this is. Well, that's 738 feet. That's pretty big, right? So 738 divided by 20, that's going to be 36 inches. So that's a big section view. I better go 1 inch equals 50 to get it to fit on a piece of paper nicely. So that's looking okay. Now I can maybe adjust these graphics. Maybe get just a little bit more out of it. 10. There we go. See how that really pops and it looks really good? Now these are no longer in a good spot. And I should probably see how big these letters are. 3/32. I like them to be closer to 1/8 inch, maybe even a little bit larger. There we go. So that's how you deal with this. You just start making it look better and better and better as you go. We talked that this is probably the east and this is probably the west. You can put a note main residence. This is the new accessory buildings. You could put something over here that this is the main egress and egress or ingress to the property. This is where the main road is. I think it's called Pioneer Way. So little things like that, but we'll really start working on that later. Mostly I want to get something that looks kind of like that. Cool?
Okay, so you want that's what you want for the Hamul project?
Yeah, this is my east west, and then you should also do one that goes the other way. So I wanted an east-west and a north-south. And I don't care where the north-south is done. Everybody can put it wherever they want. You can, put it through there, or maybe you want it over here to show more of the building. Maybe you want to show it through this little weird kind of weirdo low patch to show, because that's kind of a weird little spot there where it's dropping down over to there and over to here. And so I don't really care where you put that so long as I can see that you've got a north south and an east west. And look, this thing has to drop down so that you can kind of see it. And all those little lines in the back are there because I'm looking a long way. So I'm seeing the dirt, I'm seeing these lines. So if I don't want to see those very much, I bring it in really close. Cool. And you can hide this. So right now, I just want to see that you can develop some. As we do the project, I'll be giving you more details or more instructions about what to put on it so that it acts like a good land planning document. Okay?
Okay.
So cool. So hopefully, if by getting into 2022, you'll be able to do that. And that is just one of those difficulties with Revit. And you know what? I'm going to save this now because I don't think I saved it last time. There we go. Okay. Any other questions before I do a quick demo?
Um, well, I'm trying to get into the Humul project site right now through VMware just to
Okay.
see if that works through there. Um, I think there was one about the submittal template.
Okay. Let's go look at that.
Um, so I went into VMware and I went to open everything up through there, and it's still saying the file Hamul project site plan was saved using a newer release of Revit. You cannot open it using this release.
Well, are you on which VMware did you get into? It should look like this, where you've got Revit 2022.
Let me see.
So when you get into the VMware,
So I'm in there in ARC. The one that they have on there is 2021.
okay, you're on the Design Hub, I think.
Okay.
You should find the one that says ARC Design and Engineering Technology.
Okay.
Did you find that one?
I did, and it's opening up right now.
Okay. And then it should the screen should look exactly like what you're seeing right here.
Okay.
And I just heard it open up. What do you know?
Yes. So okay, yeah, it has the
Okay.
2020.
So you should have no problem with that then.
Okay.
Cool. So now I want to show you this is what we did on Thursday. And you'll notice that I redid this polyline so there's some, I know that this is a level walkway. So I just added some points so that when I did my spline, it would work out right. Now, here's what happens. At this point right here, the amphitheater is right there. And that's what the amphitheater looks like. So this corner right here, and I should rotate this if I can. How do I rotate this? Okay, so it looks just like that. That corner right there is that spot right there. It's actually about a foot away, but we're just gonna say that that's the corner. So now I want to draw in plan view. I want to draw that amphitheater, and then I'm gonna do a cut through the amphitheater. Okay, and I don't have actual elevations. I have to wait for Nick to upload one more set of files, but we'll have something. And so what I'm trying to show here is that sometimes we use survey equipment and sometimes we just go out and measure something. I just went out there with the tape measure and took some measurements and figured out what it looked like. Okay, so this is a depression. This is down below the surface. It's concrete. There's brick all the way around it, and this is the storm drain for it. And then 4 foot away, there's another thing of bricks that are 1 foot high that you can sit on. And then 4 foot away, there's another set of bricks 1 foot high. And about right there, there's a giant tree. Okay, so we want to show that somehow. So let's see how we can maybe do that. I'm going to pull this over here and see if I can see them side by side.
So I did the points for the amphitheater. I did the points on mine. Maybe I just need to go in and redo them again, but it looks similar to yours, but it does not match up like yours.
Okay, so remember I drew my line not really quite to those ends because I knew that I was on that column.
But mine doesn't even look like it would go to a 45-degree angle.
A 90 like that?
Or yeah, 90, I'm sorry.
Well, it's not exact. Like that, if you look at it, these points aren't really, I mean, they're off by like a foot, maybe a little more, right? But I knew that that one was a spot, and I saw that that one was really good. But you could try to redraw a line to these three, and it wouldn't come out quite right. But it should be kind of close, like
Well,
that.
I think I know. So I was looking at mine, but so it looks like mine is actually almost like mirrored.
Oh, you probably forgot to change yours to clockwise. Did
Yes.
you
Okay.
do your units?
Okay. I did the units. I did not do clockwise, I don't think. I'll double check.
Yeah, that happened to a few people on the midterm.
Okay.
And
Yeah. So I see. Okay.
yep, so it's got to be clockwise. Remember, all of our stuff is clockwise.
Got it. Thank you.
Cool. So now let me go ahead and see if I can. I'll put myself onto the construction layer again, and I'll draw from here over 27 feet, and from the midpoint down 3 feet. And so the goal of this is to show kind of how this is just a feature, and I don't need to survey the feature. I surveyed where an important part was and where an important part was, and then the rest is just going to be measuring. The rest is just measuring. So now I can go, that can be on my thick, and I can do an arc 3 point, 1, 2, 3. And then I come back 27 feet. And then I have something that's 6.7 long. And that midpoint goes on there.
Now, is it so where that arc is, that's 3 feet from
Yep,
right? And then it's 27 feet wide.
yep, across the arc.
Okay. And then,
That's called
so
a
then it,
chord. And
okay. And
so,
then it's,
yeah, and then it's just 3 points. Bing, bing, bing.
okay. And then when you brought it up, that was
That's this one.
25 and a half.
Oh, that should have been 22.5. You're right. have been
Is it
22.
25.5?
No, it should have been 22.5.
22 point.
25, 25.5. You're right.
Okay.
So let me get that correct.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand it correctly.
Wasn't even reading my own drawing well. There we go. And that is a straight line. And now these are kind of weird. These are just kind of, they look like they're just sort of some sort of an arc that's laid in there. And it's very, there's not really much to measure. So I'm going to go start, end, and just give it some bend. It kind of looks like that. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll mirror it because I have no clue exactly what I did.
So that particular part doesn't necessarily need to be exact so long as it
No,
looks.
because we really, you know, it. I'm sure they just laid something out, and a contractor did something that looked nice. Right,
Okay.
right. I mean, it's like okay, um, and then this is really weird. So now I have to go offset 4, and I'm gonna just move that down. And it says then go up 8, and that's where my storm drain is. So I'll put in a little storm drain.
So the storm drain is offset by 4 and
4.
then up by 8.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's a point that we surveyed. So that's where it goes. Kind of a weird spot. You would think it would be over here, but I'm gonna guess that that was already there, and they built this around it with some reason for putting it where it was. Okay, now I've just got some offsets of 4. And what I noticed is they don't really slope out like that. They're cut off kind of straight in a line. So this is all just stuff that I saw when I was out there. And if you had been out there, you would have gotten it too. There. So that shows where the amphitheater is. And we'll do more development with this as we go. But now what I want to do is show that this elevation is constant all the way around. It's pretty level. I took that level and moved it all the way around. And every place around that brick was pretty level. And I think that this was about a 1 foot drop. And then there's a sloping grade down to this. So when we get what this elevation is, we'll be able to tell. But these are each up 1 foot. That's what this is saying. And they're 1 foot high. So this would be at an elevation of 1.58. Oops, not 158.
That'd be a huge
That
jump.
would be up there quite a ways. And this one would be 2.58. And that makes sense because I know that it's not at the top of the hump. It's just kind of moving like that. Cool. So that is the amphitheater. That's the goal is to be able to mix your survey with some key points and be able to create something like this.
So
Okay.
we would be recreating, in a sense, that drawing.
Next week, we'll probably be working on something very similar. Okay.
Okay, so then we just need the points right now.
Yeah. And right now, I'm just sort of demonstrating. I want you to be able to watch and go, yeah, that made some sense. That was pretty good. I got it. I see what you're doing. I see that you're using a survey to get um, some points. And this one isn't actually a physical line out there, right? That's just where I was doing my work. These are physical. Right here, if I really wanted to do something physical, I would put a column right there. So I could go out and measure, and I think they're probably 24 by 24. And is that the corner I took? No, I took the other corner. So that's physically a column of the building. And this is physically a column of the building. And I don't know why I'm not able to get that line. There we go. And I'll put that back as my construction line between the two. There we go. So there's building column, the building column, and the amphitheater. And I could go back and go, oh well, this is the walkway. We could do a lot of work to figure out where the walkway really goes and all that kind of stuff. But this is a big mound out here, and what I'm really interested is, can you make that section view? Okay, now there's a few things that you might want to do with this section view. You might want to put an earth hatch underneath it because it is earth down there. And I'll put it on. I usually make it kind of a light color. That's a little too big. Probably maybe 8. That looks pretty nice. So that should end up looking pretty nice when I show that on a thing. And if I want to, I can even put this column here. Except it's going to be in the way of all my numbers. So I won't bother to, I'll do it as just a line.
And you said that we don't need to do that part right there, right? Just the points. We're going to be doing those next week.
Yeah, next week I'm just kind of going over, giving you guys, I like to give background knowledge, right?
Yes.
So that people can get it kind of like, oh, okay, I see where we're going to go, so that you're not overwhelmed with what's going on and how to do it at the same time. And so then I'm going to make one viewport right there. And I'll make that probably a 1 to 10. That looks pretty good. And in this viewport, remember how you can turn things on and off in a viewport. Oh, except let me turn those back on. Let me come back over here. My hatch was on the wrong layer. What layer are those on? There we go. Put them on the thin layer. And there we go. So now I've got a nice little section view. And then over here, I can put another layout in. That shows my columns, and eventually I would put in some of the other work, and I could even line that column up right there, and I could make it also 1 equals 10. Bring it down a ways. There. And now somebody can start getting a realistic picture of what's going on. And we'll do some more work about getting the sidewalk in and where the edge of that hump and where the trees are, and then we'll have a complete one, but that will be next week's work. I want to show you one other cool thing. So do you have any questions about that? There's nothing to do. There's just stuff to see and soak in.
I don't think so far. I just need to fix my points and change it to clockwise. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I just need to change that, and then I'll see if I can figure out the Hamul project. You said you just wanted like um, a east west and then a north south.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's it.
Okay, and then the Civi 67. That's this one right here, right?
That's let's see. Civi 67. What did
It
I
opens.
ask you to do with that? Oh, yeah, that one. Let me open that one up. That one is to take the distance between your line of sight and the ground and transfer it into a table.
Okay, and you're
That,
able to find that with each of like the grid marks.
yeah, each grid mark is a rod.
Okay,
So
and
there's
that's
rod 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 13 or something like that. And then you're just gonna go, okay, that's 10 feet, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So each one of these is 2 feet.
okay. Okay,
So there it's 2, 4, 5.75 or something, right? It's just estimating,
okay.
reading it off of the graph.
So you go from the black line,
Yep.
and then you go from the black line up to the red line.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, because technically a rod reading would look like, I got my snaps on. Technically a rod reading, right? That would be the rod,
right.
right? And so you'd read from the bottom of the rod up. But I just wanted to go ahead and get some lines in there for you to work with.
Okay, so then we just go from the black part up to
Yep.
the red line, and the red line, it's as it lays on the actual chart, so it would be up above 10 feet.
Yep. Like right here, 12, 14, almost 16. This would be 10, 12, 14, a little over 16.
Okay.
This one would be like real close to 17,
Okay, that makes sense. And then
almost 18. Yep,
so we just need to put in the distances, for each rod and the
yep.
rod reading, what would be the rod reading as far as
Well, those are the rod readings,
okay,
and your distances you count this way, and here's your scale. So from there to there is about, so each of these are like 10 apart.
okay,
So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100,
okay,
right? And so each of these lines is 10 apart.
okay,
And up and
okay, so
down there too.
up and
So,
down they're 2 and
yep,
apart they're 10.
yep,
Okay, so then we just get the distance and we get the rod readings and then we take a snip of it?
yep,
Okay, perfect.
yep, that's it.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure,
Yep.
on there because yeah, okay.
Yeah, nothing else to do. This is just, but remember there's two of them to do, right?
Okay,
There,
there's 2 different ones.
yeah, you do it on, it's the same thing, but it's showing your readings are going to be different depending on how you've set your theodolite, right? Here you've set it way up high and you have a level line of sight. Here is the exact same survey with your theodolite set lower with an angled line of sight.
Okay,
And if
okay,
you
so
were
we
to take these two and replot them, they should give you the exact same line.
okay. So, we would put those on the let me see.
Yeah, just take a snip and it's in the it's in the template.
So on the template, so the first okay, slide 2. Um, slide 2, we would wanna put our theodolite readings, the ones that we had, like, all of the
Yep.
okay, and then the, slide 3, that's what we would put that blue drawing that you just had?
Yep.
Okay, and then, let
And
me see, and
slide
then
4 is your Hamul, two different sections.
so then where would we put the amphitheater?
You don't. That's just for you to watch and see. You have nothing to
Oh.
actually do with it. It's just I'm demonstrating. Next week you're going to do stuff with it.
Okay, okay. Got it. I was thinking for some reason that we needed to put it on the template as well, at least just the points.
Nope.
Okay, and then it confused me because the, slide I think it was slide 3, I thought that was the one that we had to do it on, but slide 3, I noticed it took me to that blue sheet.
Yep.
Okay, got it. That's helpful. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, and yours won't be blue. I set my background to look weird. Yours will be whatever color your background, white, black, or
Okay,
whatever.
okay.
All right. So that's cool. So let's see. I demonstrated this. I demonstrated this. Was there anything else I needed to go over and demonstrate? Yeah, I wanted to show one more thing if I can. Let's see if they show up well enough. I'm just going to also, this is just a hint for next week. 350 discussions. Let's see if they're in here. Yep. Okay, so it's really hard to see this, but so I'm going to take a snip of it and I'll do a little drawing on it. And this is where the phone doesn't really show quite well enough, but we'll hope that in the future we can get a little bit stronger with it. I'm going to show you just for now, and we'll do more later on. And this is called a stadia reading. So we know from that angled line of sight stuff that there's some relationships we can look at, right? So as an example, where did that go? Didn't that just bring this up? We know from this one and going over to here that there's some sort of a relationship between these lines and the angle and the height. And so if you know some of the information, you can find the other. So if I can actually tell the rod reading and know this angle, I can also tell how far away I am. Is that the wildest thing? I could actually use 2 points that are separated by a fixed angle and read the distance between them and find out how far away I am.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And so let's take a look at it. Remember that little tiny crosshair?
Yes.
So there's one of them. And there's our midline. And then there's another crosshair the same amount down. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So kind of like there's another little crosshair right there. Okay? Well, if you measure this and multiply by 1,000, you get how many feet away you are. Isn't that wild? So this is
It
1,
is.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 apart. Okay, and if I was drawing this a little bit better, it would be more obvious, right? But those are 10 apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you remember what the distance reading to this pole was? It was 100 feet.
That's cool.
Okay, and these are decimal feet, right? So that's zero point 0.1 times 1,000. So that's going to be, um, you could actually just count those out and then multiply by 10, right? So 10, oop, 10 times they call it the stadia factor, 10 equals 100. And that's how many feet it was. Is that the coolest thing? I think it's awesome.
That is. That's really neat.
And so now you know you don't need that tape. You don't need to worry about, you just need to be able to see that thing because it's built in. And the way it's working is that there's a level line of sight, and then it's like it's set up so that it's a certain number of degrees. And so we just know, right? If you can measure that, and you know that this is a fixed number, right? It's called the tangent of the angle. And so if you know that, then you can get this horizontal distance. And that's really cool. And so we'll be starting to do that a few times next week. And that's the end of our survey skill. Then you'll have everything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back this weekend and take those ones that we've got and put the stadia marks on them. A little bit. It's a little bit hard because my little AutoCAD one doesn't really do that. So I may have to get them off of here as best I can. Like I can see that one. There it is, right on 100 feet. Um, this one, I'm not sure. I think that's one of them. And maybe that's one of them. So I could go back and see. Yep, those are 13 apart. And they were 130 feet. Right? So this one, if I were to take this one, and it's a little bit hard to see again, but it works out just the same. Let me just add another one on here. So this is the last trick that you guys need to learn about. So I'm going to say there's one about there, and I think this is the other one right there. And those are apart by 13. 13 times 10 equals 130. And I think it was like 51 plus 81, right? That we measured with the tape, or 81 plus 52 something. So this thing is 130 feet away from my station. That makes life easier, doesn't it?
It does. That's awesome.
So, so there we go. That's our last little bit that I wanted to start talking about, and to give you that last little thing where you don't need that tape measure anymore. And that's why next week is our last survey, because now we've got every part of the theodolite reading that we can take, right? We've got all the levels and all the little things that we can look at and see and record and measure. And now you know why you see those extra two little lines, right? There's
Right.
your
That makes sense now.
yep, there's your elevation, and these are what are called the stadia readings. So there you go. And again, this is just to give you some background knowledge, so that we have our chance to then go and talk about it next week again. Cool?
Sounds good.
Okay, any other questions before we finish up?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I'm going to stop